Hello, Cosmic Witches. Welcome back to the Divine Gossip Girls. This is me, Maggie, and I'm joined, as always, with Sophie and Carly. Today, we're going to be talking about our go-to summer spiritual rituals. I don't know about you, but I really like to kind of change with the seasons. I think the different weather brings different energy, and especially now that I'm back in Canada, it's very different weather. So I have to kind of change my different rituals and change around what I like to do. And summer is definitely a high vibe time, a time to get outside, get into nature. It's hot, it's warm, so you might not be doing the same sort of activities as when it's freezing cold in the wintertime. So we wanted to talk about our favorite energetic and spiritual summer rituals, what we find ourselves going back to time and time again, year and year again, and maybe what our plans are going forwards for summer 2024, which is now in full swing, what we've been doing, what we want to do. We really wanted to talk about these rituals because we are running for the fourth round Aura Elevation. This is our 21-day ritual challenge where we work through all 7 chakras. Last summer when we did our summer aura elevation, it just absolutely was fiery and energetic and expansive, and we're so excited to do this again in August. So if you're interested in joining us, this is going to be a 21-day challenge, 2 challenge per chakra, and then an integration day to catch up, to learn a little more about how you work with your chakra, or just a day off if that's what you need. We're going to have mini rituals like breath work, rage rituals, yoga flows, tappings, meditations, so much more. And you have one to do every single day. And really the best thing about this is the community aspect. Every single time we have the most amazing group of souls who just hold space for each other and create the most loving, healing, and expansive environment. We have nearly 50 people, I think almost every time the past 2 rounds, and these are people who are just so excited to learn more about themselves, their energy, grow spiritually, understand things on a spiritual level, and also hold space unconditionally for each other. It's basically like a little taste test of all different types of spiritual work for a really low price. So if you're interested in it, I'll put the link in the show notes. It's only $49, which is crazy for the amount of stuff that we do within it. It's worth upwards of $800, and really it's just $49 because we think that spirituality and spiritual work should be accessible to everyone. So come and join us. We have limited spots, but we would love to have you there, and we'll see you inside Aura Elevation. But let's get into today's episode and talk about our current and our favorite summer spiritual rituals. Hey Cosmic Witches! Divine Gossip Girls here, your one and only source into the spiritual happenings of the cosmos.
Ever wonder what this month's energy will have in store for you? What the planets and stars are even up to? Or if the universe can just help you catch a break already?
Well, lucky you, because we have all the spiritual secrets to tell. Get ready to sip on your weekly dose of divine tea.
All right, so I wanted to specifically talk about our summer spiritual rituals because, like I kind of said in the intro, we change with the seasons. What we are able to do changes with the seasons, but also like our energy changes, what's going on around us changes. It's just when you're one with the world around you and when you really allow yourself to adapt and change with the energy around you, it can be really powerful. So, there's things like I might do certain like really hardcore workouts during the winter that make me like sweat, but I'm not going to be doing the same thing during the summer. Like that's just on a basic level. I'm not going to be doing the same thing as the summer because I'm like overheating and I'm sweating already. When I was in Italy last year, we didn't have an air conditioner and there were days where it was like 40 degrees. And I said, there's no way I'm doing my morning Pilates when it's 40 degrees out. It's just not doable. But I still wanted to connect with my body. So I would do stretches or I would do breath work, which wasn't necessarily like moving my body a ton, but it was still like getting in with my energy. So there's just different things that you can do. So I wanted to start this out and say, in the summer season, what do you normally do? What are we normally working on? I know for me, probably the biggest thing with summer rituals, even if it's not a ritual I do every day, it feels special to me and very ritualistic, even if I do it like once every week or once every 2 weeks, and that's just to connect with water. I am just such a little water soul and I want to swim. I'd live on a boat if I could. Like, I just want to always be in the water. So every year it feels so special to me when it gets warm enough that I can swim to get out into the water and swim. And shockingly, I don't think I've done that this year. And I think it's one of the reasons that I've been feeling like not myself. It's been so hot, but I just, with moving and with the chaotic energy around me, I just haven't had the chance to be like, let's slow down, let's get in the water. So the closest I've had are like showers, but I really want to get in and like immerse myself and go underwater. And I think I'll feel so much more like myself again because I'll finally have gotten into that like water ritualistic energy of summer. But it's very cleansing to me and it like fills me with life. So it's something that I'll definitely be prioritizing for this summer now that I'm settling.
I love water as well.
I'm such a little water baby. I'm like, I'll just be in the
It's
water
so
all the
good.
time.
Yes. And I feel like you can also pair very simple, cleansing practices with water
Oh
and
yeah.
just, allow whatever body of water you're in to just like help purify your soul and give you
And it
life.
just
And
feels cleansing. Like you jump in the water and like you don't even have to like set the intention. For me anyways, it just feels like, oh, I'm like free for a moment. Like my mind gets so calm when I'm in the water because I'm just like in it and floating and swimming and it's like, oh, I'm existing in a different world right now. That's so dramatic for like just swimming and being in water, but it's genuinely how I feel.
maybe you were like a fish or like water animal, or you come from like a starseed water planet or
I
something.
must,
'Cause
like, I have to. Well, technically, so you can look, this is, I mean, a total aside, but on your birth chart in astrology, you have a missing element. And people will often say, like, oh, that's the element that you don't feel connected to, that you struggle the most with. Or, and I was like, that makes no sense for me because, or on the flip side, it's an element you already mastered in a past life, is what people will say. And for me, if I knew nothing about my chart and you said, which element do you connect most with? I would say 100% water. But water is my missing element. And I think it's very much would make no sense, even though two of
Wait,
my
that
big
would
three
make
are water.
so much sense because for me, I feel like I'm so connected to the earth, but I have barely any earth in my chart. But in my
Yep.
Vedic chart, I have more earth. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
This is
this is,
going on
I
an
mean,
astrology tangent now.
it's total astrology. I don't do Vedic as much, and that's mostly because that would make me a Taurus. And I think I am the most Gemini person who has ever been a Gemini. And I just don't see that Taurus.
But I'd be a Gemini rising, which I could understand.
Yes, you can find your missing element, and my missing element is water, and my heaviest element, funnily enough, is earth, which I would say I'm missing probably the most because I'm so not grounded. But I really think I'm here to learn the earth element when I've already mastered the water. So water becomes really naturally to me. Earth doesn't, but I have the most of my chart. But I definitely think the earth comes out like I'm a lot more, I think, calm. In some ways, like I'm not as much like I don't necessarily sometimes it's hard because of my ADHD, but I would say like I'm a lot more like it's fine, it'll all happen in
Hmm.
time and that and I think that I can communicate clearly a lot of the time and that I think is I have a Taurus Mercury, so that comes out, but you can see those different things. So I think I connect with water and when I connect with water, this is a huge tangent, but when I do have that connection with water, it kind of like brings me back to my innate energy source, like that energy that I've already mastered. So it's
I feel
effortless,
like
kind of.
That makes so much sense. And even as you're saying this, Maggie, I'm like elemental summer rituals. Like I feel like summer is a time for you to like connect more to like elements that bring you life because summer is like a time where things are fully in bloom. Like you're having, the weather is like at a I
Fiery.
guess a better temperature for you to actually go outside and like connect more with nature or the elements that you really like. And I feel like for me, another missing element can sometimes be fire. And I love bonfires and I love like fire
Yes.
kind of rituals. So I've been really called to honestly, this isn't something I have done, but I've done in the past around like the summertime is doing some sort of ritual with fire, whether that be like me journaling like a manifestation that I really just feel like is being birthed in my heart that I'm like, all right, I'm ready to call this into the world. It's like I write it down on a piece of paper. I write a letter out to the universe with my highest self. I make a contract with my highest self, my guides, and I'm like, all right, in divine time, bring it here. And I feel like fire can be a really beautiful element of purification, but also surrender. So, I throw the little thing, I throw the manifestation letter or the thing into the fire, or it could even be a little release ritual that you do with fire. If you have like a bonfire or a safe fire pit that you can do some sort of ritual with, but it's just really nice. Or even to go outside to light some, sage or Palo Santo and like cleanse yourself while you're standing in the grass. That's really nice. But I feel like a fire kind of ritual, something that I've been called to do and something that I've done in the past that element of working both with fire, but then working with the earth as well. If you can do it in nature, grounded, is really, really nice.
Sophie, you just did an outdoor ritual,
Well,
didn't you?
yeah. So I was actually going to say, let's just keep this. And obviously, Maggie's gave one about water, Carly's given one about fire. I'll give one about earth because I don't think I have a lot. Correct me if I'm wrong, Maggie, but I don't think I have a lot of earth in my chart. Like
I don't think a ton. I'd have to look
yeah.
again. I don't. You have a lot of air
Yeah,
and
and
fire.
fire. Yeah, exactly. And I do resonate with like Maggie, like that's what I really love right now is like and going in the water. Like that's something like I'm really, really enjoying. But it's something that like I personally held back for a while. Like I was always, I don't know, there was like a resistance, there was a fear there. But last year I went to an event and I just became obsessed with like cold water dipping or like going in the water. And it really, I remember the first time I'd done it, like I genuinely was like, oh my God, I feel reborn. I feel reborn. But the practice that I want to give and kind of like that's more earthly that I did, yeah, like I did it on Monday. I went to like a sister circle on the beach in Edinburgh and I just knew I needed it and I knew like my whole entire body needed it and I was lying down and she took us through some meditation and Reiki and it was fucking amazing because I was just like sitting down, lying down. I was looking up at the clouds. My hands were on the beach. Like I could hear the birds because obviously like my we didn't have any headphones like she was just like guiding us through it while outside and it just felt so grounding and as if like I was just one with nature like you were just one with the earth and I think that's one of the practices that I want to keep leaning into as like a summer practice as well is that like walking meditations or meditations by the beach or meditation in the grass or like just dancing in the grass, just like grounding in the grass, like being more even just reading in the grass, like going to a park and reading, going outside and doing a meditation, walking outside, or even just like walking without anything and just listening to the wind, listening to the birds, just listening and being with nature, I feel like is really, really um something I want to continue leaning into, especially even like in the evenings as well. Like I'm really enjoying like going for like kind of later evening walks because it's so much lighter. The smell at night, I just love it. The smell, the noise, the kind of
I
like
always want to go on night walks. I don't know what the
I feel like
air
being in the
is
moon
different.
too, like
yeah,
under Mother
Yeah.
Moon when you're on a walk
yeah,
is
I
just
just love
like
it. I like called my best friend and we were like, let's go for a walk. But I was like, I intentionally don't want to go till later, like because
Yeah.
it's still light at like 11 o'clock. So we didn't leave till like 8:30, and I fucking loved that. I was like, I love how it's 8:30 at night and it's just like so bright. But there's just this energy. There's just this grounding energy of like, it's just peaceful. Like everybody's finished work, everyone's settling down, the days coming to an end, and you can just like be. Um, so yeah, that's one of my practices is just like being outside more and grounding outside more, connecting to the earth, connecting to just nature, and whether it's just walking, whether it's like literally like meditation or reading. Like when I was like meditating and having Reiki on the beach on Monday, as I record this, I remember like I genuinely remember just like touching like the sand and just like grounding and being like, this
Reading.
feels so good.
You just said reading, and that's a huge one. I would say, I mean, I'm just a
Yeah.
reader, so I love reading at all times of the year, but reading is a really big summer ritual for me. And it's funny because this is really one, that it's important to work with what works for you because I know people who say that reading is a winter ritual for them because it's like cozying up inside with a book, and that's like such a cozy winter ritual that like feeds their soul in the wintertime and like escaping into this book when it's like all cold and dark outside. But I read so much more in the summer because to me there's literally nothing better than reading outside, like reading
Ooh.
in the sun, going in the water and then coming out and swim, or like going and finding a park and sitting by a tree and reading. Like, there's not another self-care act that fills me with
I
more joy.
loved it. Like a couple of weeks ago, that's what I'd done. Our in Scotland, our summer actually comes like in May. And then June and July is honestly like shit. Like it's not even that like nice. Like we always get a really nice May. And in May, I was unwell at one point, and I remember taking a day and being like, okay, I'm just going to take this book and I'm going to go to the park with like a little blanket and just start soaking up like the summer that's coming. And because it was like really warm as well, and I loved it because yeah, like I get what you mean, like reading you can like be more of a hermit and come into yourself, but like going outside and reading and like still being in that kind of energy and just allowing it to be something that just relaxes you rather than something that like makes you escape, you know?
Summer already has such activating energy, like powerful energy of the sun and those fire, like kind of fiery elements that sometimes the best rituals are those that allow you to kind of relax and come home to yourself, but while also being in connection to the earth, being in connection to
Yeah.
like the elements, because we already have so much of like that airy, like fiery kind of energy coming through where, oh, our ego can sometimes be louder in the summertime. It's actually a lot harder for you to, make it a priority to like do your rituals or your self-care practices because you're so outwardly focused or so much in the mind that it's actually that much more important for you to find those simple practices that still feel good but get you to slow down enough to actually like ground your energy a little bit more so that you're not so wrapped and trapped up in your ego, because I've been noticing myself really struggling with a louder mind over the past month, like a little bit more anxiety coming up, creeping in. It's like harder for me to think more positively because I am allowing my mind to kind of take over. And I just did a little check. I was like, why am I feeling these ways? And I'm like, well, maybe it's because, first of all, the energy has been really strong and we're going, a lot of us through a lot of transitions, but also I've kind of let go of like crucial self-care time to myself. I love a good face mask. I love a good bath. I love a good little, glass of sparkling seltzer water or wine, like something, just those sweet like evenings to yourself. And what is better than a summer evening of self-care? Like that just sounds beautiful. And I feel like if there's one thing that I want to continue to do is like every Sunday evening, do a little self-care ritual evening and make that like small little bits throughout my week nights or week mornings, because I think that's what we need. We just need smaller pockets of time scattered throughout our day versus like in the winter where you kind of feel like, oh, I can give myself a nice hour to like meditate and journal. Now it's like I want to get going with my day.
Especially because it is very just even like outside of our favorite like spiritual routines and rituals that we're talking about now, like it's ritualistic for society and people in general to be much more social in the summer. And that's important. Like we're a lot more extroverted in the summer and introverted in the winter just because the weather, you know, when you're outside, you're meeting people, you're seeing more people, you're going more places. When it's cold, you're that living that, like Sophie said, that like little hermit life where you're inside and you're coming into yourself a little bit. And so it's important when you said to make sure that you're dispersing these small moments of that like grounding self-care because the sun is bright and out and there's that fire energy, and then you're connecting with people and you're doing things which is fire energy and air energy, and it's all this like moving around, no structure, like flowy raging sort of energy that can kind of flit and flow and go everywhere. And it's like, okay, that energy is naturally everywhere in the summer. It's in our society, it's in the air, it's in the season. So how can we combat that and like ground into ourselves as well? Because we need that balance. We need this balance in between like, okay, I'm being really social. Okay, I'm, in the sun, it's warm, I'm active, I'm doing things, I'm starting new projects. And now what are also these spiritual rituals to make sure that I'm also connected to that earth as well?
I feel like one other element that we could also sprinkle in there is the air element. I feel like for me, I've been connecting a lot to breath and like breath work and somatic practices as we enter into summer. Like I am struggling a little bit more to sit down and meditate, but like I love to do tapping and breathing, which has been feeling really good, or just rhythmic breathing, which has been kind of a morning and evening ritual that I've been doing, is like allowing the breath to be really my guide to accepting a lot of the loud thoughts that are coming in or really strong emotions. Because I feel like there's been that little element of like more judgment and just, kind of being all over the place. So allowing the breath to really be the guide, and chanting I've also really liked. If you guys have ever heard like chakra chanting, each chakra has a vibration and a chant that you can do. So I've been loving flowing through my chakras, doing a chant for my root and then a chant for the heart, which I shared on my Instagram. But just like chanting with breathing has been something I've been liking a little bit more than just sitting down to meditate.
And those are such like grounding air practices and rituals, but also just a reminder that the mind and communication is connecting with air as well. So you can do like really Zen things and those amazing practices of chanting and of breath work, but also something like journaling is a very air sign practice. Connecting with people, like social activities, is an air sign practice. And so is like what we were just saying, reading, learning, anything like that. Air is communication, but air is also the mind. So if you're feeling like your mind is really all over the place and scattered, maybe it needs like something to do because you're in a higher charged time in the summer. So sometimes I find in the summer, I really need to be maybe more social. I'm more of an extrovert anyways. Like I need my own time, but I am very extroverted. So sometimes I'm like, I need to connect with people because this is going to motivate me. This is going to keep my mind from spiraling in on myself and then like causing me to just want to be a little hermit all day. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to like go and learn something. So if you want to try a class, if you want to read a book, like whether this is nonfiction or fiction, using your mind, doing like puzzles, doing things like that, like using that mind and flexing your brain is a really great way to connect with that element during the summer as well. Like when we talk about rituals, they can be these really spiritual things like breath work and chanting, like Carly was saying, which are fantastic. And like I love doing breath work, and I've also been getting into breath work more and more over like the past year, but also doing things like puzzles. And I do a lot of like Sudokus in the summer for some reason because it's something that I feel like I do usually, not this year as much, but I usually do a lot of travel in the summer. And so I can't bring that much stuff with me. And a little like Sudoku book is great for me to just bring and like do on the train or do in, when I'm waiting for something because it's something that's using that air element and using my brain and my mind, and it's a little self-care ritual in itself. And so, just to wrap it all up, I wanted to go around. Maybe I wanted to know things that you guys are doing and what I'm doing. I think Carly is jumping to say one here of something you've been doing that is going to be a ritual for you this summer, or something that you're looking to embrace a little bit. If you want to go first, Carly.
Yes. Well, I guess this is one that, yeah, I've kind of been doing daily, but also I feel like I have kind of two main ones, but we'll start with this one. A ritual that I've been loving is just like really allowing my cooking time, my time in the kitchen to be something special and something where I connect more to like the different colors. And I've been really working to incorporate more colors into my cooking and just make my dishes more vibrant, more full of life, more full of meaning. I've also really been loving going to like little farmers markets and taking time to connect more with like local farmers and just be in kind of the energy of people outdoors and food. I just think that's really beautiful.
I've been saying for like a year now that I want to get more into like green or kitchen witchcraft. And so I got a new deck. It's called the Green Witch Oracle deck. And it has like different practices you can do, different crystals to use, different herbs to use. And so I'm really like this summer, a really big thing that I want to get into more is like take a small amount of time a day and like get into that. And I think that's really great because it's passion, so it's fire, and it's cooking, which uses both fire and water, and also the earth because you have that food. Like it's such a great elemental practice to do what you're doing, Carly, and to look into this, what I want to do as well, because you use all the elements. And then there is that air element as well, because it's something that you're learning and it's something that you're trying new things, which is that air element. So it's something that really uses all of the elements when you like do rituals with your food and work with your food. So that was something that I really want to get into as well. But what's your second one?
Yes, and I also wanted to just share something quick that you can do while you're eating, which is like cleansing your food. That's the second kind of little thing that tags on with food is like before I eat, I just send gratitude to the earth, to, everyone involved, and then I just cleanse it. I just put my little hands over my dish and ask that.
Thanks to everyone that's involved
Yes.
to get this food here.
Exactly. And just thank you to all the nutrients, all the farm workers, all the things. But it feels so like whenever I've done this practice and I'm like really emotional, I will get teary-eyed because I'm like, thank you. There's been so much energy put into this food. But really, it's a beautiful practice if you allow yourself to just feel gratitude for each meal that you get to have. If you're like having a really hard day, sometimes just like being with your food and letting it like just connect to it can feel really nice. So
Tell me you're a yoga teacher that's been in India without telling me you're a yoga teacher that's been in India. I feel like that's such a something that
And who's going on a personal health journey of like
yeah.
figuring out sicknesses and health and stuff. Like it's so beautiful the way that so many people would be so just, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about this in another episode, but like with everything you've been facing, Carly, I feel like so many people would feel so defeated. And I know
Yeah.
there's always times where you do feel defeated, but instead you're like, I'm gonna have this special moment with my food and I'm gonna thank everyone who brought it to me. And that's so a statement of like who you are and the work that you do and the work that you've done, that like that's your outlook as well.
I'm sure you do that with flowers as well. Like I'm pretty sure you put like something up where you say thank you to every single
But
flower
you just
in your
speak to the
bouquet.
flowers, like like you speak to your plants, like or your
Yeah.
animals, they're all sentient beings with energy in them. And you never
Well,
know where your food came from. Like sometimes there's like a lot of food that's, been through not so good circumstances or like farm
yeah.
workers that aren't paid enough so I just send them all love and I hope that they, are receive the love and then you can also set the intention for your body to help you in absorbing the nutrients in whatever way will help it most. And yeah, you know what? Let it be placebo, you guys. Let your
I say
mind,
this all the
I
time.
literally like get your mind on board with healing your body. Like I am like, body, you're going to do your best to absorb the maximum nutrients from this meal because you are incredible.
Whenever it's something
Mhm.
like that, I'm like, what's the worst case scenario? That I'm talking to my food and nothing is helping? What's the best case scenario? That it actually does something. Like, there's no losing here, there's only winning and staying the same.
Okay. Well, to finish this episode up, I feel like what my kind of go-to one is going to be this coming summer, especially, is kind of an all-encompassing one with the air, with the earth, with the water, with the fire, is to go to more of the events that I went to at the beginning of this week, where it's outdoor kind of workshops or circles or spaces where you get to ground, where you get to connect with others, where you get to connect with yourself, where you get to connect with nature, whether you get when you get to connect with water as well. I'm actually so excited because the next like sister circle that Abby's holding, who's like another coach that Carly and I met through a program literally 2.5 years ago, which is mad. But Abby's holding these little circles each month in Edinburgh, and she's holding her next one's the day before my birthday. So I've decided that because my birthday lands on a Tuesday, so I've decided on the Sunday I'm going to go to a yoga and cold water dipping event, and then on the Monday I'm going to go to Abby's sister circle, which is all about like energy healing, meditation, connecting with other like-minded women. So I feel like that's going to be the intention of this summer, is like leaning into those types of spaces and experiences. And yeah, that's my favorite. And I'm really excited because when I came back, I was just like walking, like it was later on at night. And like I said earlier, like I really just love the smell of like, and the energy of like late evenings, late summer evenings. And I was like walking back to my car, from the beach on Monday night because I live honestly, about an hour away from this beach, but it was fine because I had a vibe in the car as well. But I was just like walking back to my car and I just felt so like alive, but also like grounded at the same time. And I think that's the kind of energy that I want to like embody this summer, is like, and just always, but like feeling grounded, but also feeling so alive at the same time.
That's my favorite part about the summers, those feelings. One day I'll have a dog, and you guys will know because I'm always going to be walking outside in the middle of the night. I said, Joel, I need a big dog so I feel safe walking at like 11 p.m. with my dog at night because I just love it. But that's that aliveness and groundedness that you can really get from the summer. But if you have any rituals or if you try any of these out, let us know. They're a little bit more vague. They're less like sit down and place 3 flower petals. Like they're not really rituals like that, but they're just more like embracing energy and working with what you've already got going on and what you probably already have in your life. And that's really what we're all about. It's like I think it's like mundane witchcraft and like day-to-day spirituality, where it's like you don't have to be doing all of these special magical crazy things. You just need to be living with intention and balance. And that's really what I think I got out of today's episode. So if you try any of these, if you do any of this, let us know. Tag us, and we would love to see you in Aura Elevation so that you can try out maybe some new practices and rituals for yourself. So just a reminder about that. The gates close on August 5th, and it's a hard close. No one can get in after that. So $49. We would love to see you there to get spiritual and do some little summer rituals together. But that's all we've got for today, and we will talk to you next time. All right, bye.
Bye.